Hi, I'm Arinder Bhullar,
Hi, I'm Shiv, Rura.
and this is the Arinder Bhullar Podcast. Welcome back to the Arinder Bhullar Podcast. This episode, we're going to be talking about mixed marriages.
So, let's kick this off. So this weekend, I realised that a lot of our bridal appointments that we had, not just bridal appointments, but also groomswear appointments as well, they were, like, a lot of them were Asian brides, like, our
grooms?
Yeah, or grooms. But then I found that a lot of them were also mixed marriages. So, like, a good number of them within the Asian were also, they were either marrying out of culture or like, and
out of caste
as well. But I don't think, I think it's quite important that we talk about all of this just to almost see what other people's opinions are on it as well and what we think about it as well.
Yeah.
So
generally I think that the perspective of the Asian community, I'm just saying it as a whole, of what I think is that, you can, they'd like you to marry within your own culture. So I'm talking about as in your own religion, which is very important. And then after that religion comes the caste, marrying within your own caste.
Yeah.
But I feel that a lot of children nowadays do marry out of caste or out of religion.
Yeah.
And it's a big bias, isn't it? There's a big bias, isn't there, how people feel about it? What?
I feel like even while we were doing some appointments, I feel like it's almost that thing of, especially with a bridal or with a groom's wear, when someone, say for instance they're English and they put a bridal lehenga on or they put a sherwani on, I feel like other people in the shop always stop and look. Like we always, whenever someone tries one of our bridals on, they always do stop and look. People do, but I feel like when it's someone that's English or Indian or not of an Asian heritage that tries it on, I always feel like more people stop and comment about it, and they make it into a
bigger issue.
Not issue, but like into a bigger thing, which is nice. It makes the person feel comfortable. But I also feel like sometimes then you also do see some people that are a little bit...
Sorry, I feel when people do that, I think they're a little bit hypocritical, because I feel with most Asian households, South Asian households, ideally we would like our children to be married within our culture, within our caste, the same colour.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to like, one of your children is going to be marrying an English guy, they'll still accept it. But when it comes to, now I'm going back to our colour episode, when it comes to someone that's black, a coloured person, they have their arms up and think, oh my God. I think that's still a big thing.
Yeah.
They'll say, it's acceptable to have a gora, a white person in your family, because white colour is still acceptable. But someone that's darker and is black, they'll just put their arms up and say, oh my God, that's...
I see that.
How, really?
I see that as well. Like even just like, obviously we're on Belgrave Road and it's like such a busy Asian populated road, and I feel like when you do see a couple walking down the street and it is like a black guy or a black girl with an Asian
person,
they always get stared at. Like they always get stared, not just stared at, they get stared down almost, and it's like, I just don't understand it. And it's just one of those where it's a bit different to see, I think. And even obviously being in store and stuff, that's why I wanted to touch upon it, because even this weekend when we were in store, and we do get a lot of mixed marriages, like we get a lot of bridals that we do that obviously want to come in and they want to look pretty and still mix both cultures together. And but I just wanted to touch upon
it. And
I
love how, if it's an Asian bride or groom marrying out of their religion or caste, I love it how the other religion or caste embrace our culture.
Yeah.
Like they want to be part of it. They want to wear a sherwani, or they want to wear an Indian bridal outfit because they want to look the part. And I love that they want to be part of the Indian culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also feel like people can be hypocritical, like as in, you know, if this beautiful couple will turn up at their wedding, you will, I believe in my mind, probably find 70% of the guests that are attending probably going, oh my God. But, you know, they'll
put a smile on and a laugh on.
And accept it, you know, because that's the Indian, or, you know, that's the cultural thing to do.
Brush it under the carpet almost.
Almost brush it under the carpet. But I don't have any qualms about it, but I feel that there's a lot.
It's still an issue.
It's an issue, and I still, like I said before, I think it's a very strong feeling about the colour issue of someone being, you know, if you said to an older person that, oh, my granddaughter or my daughter is now marrying someone that's white, they'll still accept it.
Yeah.
But if they say, oh, they're marrying a black guy, I think they'd still have that little shudder and think, oh, my God. Okay, so I feel, you know, like in the future, it's going to be more acceptable, the black guy marrying the Indian girl. I'm putting it straight, because it's a different generation and we all think differently. Like me, as like a second generation, I feel it's acceptable.
But I don't think that it's just the older generations that actually have a problem with it. I feel like sometimes our generation, obviously I'm like third generation, and I feel like people in my generation still have an issue with it as well. Like, I just feel like as soon as they see like for instance, if it is a black guy with an Indian girl, they would be like, oh, they would like, they're normally the ones that stare them down. They are. And it's also, they also say that thing of, I've heard it before, where they're like, they're taking our girls. Do you see what I mean? And it's like, how can you I always think, how can you take something when it's not yours?
But the thing is, we're looking at two different things. You're looking at that point of view. I'm looking at the religion, the culture, the colour side of it.
Yeah.
Whereas you're looking at the point of view, whereas the Asian boys are thinking, why are our Indian girls going out?
But that is, would you not say that is falling for the colour thing?
Yeah, it is.
It is. It's falling for the colour thing. It's falling for the religious thing, because again, it's these people that are saying these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is covering all of it.
Yeah, I suppose it's a little bit of a mix of both of what we think.
Yeah.
As in from the older generation to the younger generation.
Yeah.
But
do
you feel that happens in every culture and colour?
I think it does.
Maybe the white people thinking, oh, you know, if my daughter comes home or my son comes home with an Indian guy or an Indian woman or black, whichever culture, you know, it's hard for them to accept. And then some people won't even blink an eyelid and say, wow, lovely, you know, we're gaining, you know, something in our family that's going to be a little bit more cultural, you know. We're adding flavour into our family almost.
I think it happens in, as you said, it happens in all cultures. Like, I think it's the same thing of, it would happen in every culture, the same similar
maybe
thing
even in the black culture they could say,
I also feel
an Indian girl coming into our family, oh my God. You know,
I think it's because people are scared about losing their heritage almost, and like that if they marry out of culture, that you will then lose the whole, like, if, for instance, if it was I can only speak on like an Asian behalf.
But don't you think in any case it's filtering out our culture, our religion slowly?
Yeah.
If we're living in this country, I feel it's filtering out, because I can see it in my own family, even my own nephews, nieces, great nephews, nieces, you know, that their mindset is so different from what mine was, or my, you know, children are. They are like becoming a little more, you know, sort of Western
Yeah.
It is filtering out. Our culture is, unless we really ingrain it into them and say,
But that's what I mean. I think that's what people are scared of, is that, like, you know, these people that are saying, oh, I do have an issue with it. They're scared of losing their culture. Do you see what I mean? But I feel like if you've been brought up with your culture, you will carry your culture through. Like, even if you were to marry out of culture, you were to marry out of religion, I still feel like if that's in you, you will still teach that to your children as well, and you'll teach them to respect both cultures rather than just going forwards with one culture. They would respect both cultures and they will know both their heritages.
But don't you feel, I mean, me as an older person, obviously, as in children, do you feel that the next generation is now bringing their children up a little bit more Western rather than going into culture?
I think they are. But I also feel like there are still traditional values there. It's not. I can't say for everyone.
I personally, from my own perspective, I feel even with my children, say my daughter, she has children, I feel she's now instilling my religion, my culture into them, so they don't forget where they come from. Because sometimes kids can say, and I've heard it, you know, no, I'm English. You know, they are English. Yeah,
they're British.
Because they're British, because they've been born and brought up here. But some children forget, you know, that they still have their Indian or Caribbean or, you know, whatever. They've got those roots behind them. And I personally feel we shouldn't let them forget those. Yeah. Because otherwise then it's just gone, isn't it?
But that's what I mean by when you are in like a sort of mixed marriage. I feel like that's when, you do have children, I feel like that's what I mean about people that would still carry their culture through and teach it to their children.
How would they, if they're mixed marriage, they have to bring two cultures together.
Yeah.
And then bring forward both those cultures. Yeah.
So
it's difficult, isn't it, when it's there's two cultures. You know, how do these children that are from mixed marriages, how do they feel? How do how do they take forward both cultures?
I feel like we've seen it though. We've seen it for ourselves in the shop when we've had people that are from mixed marriages, like children from mixed marriages.
Yeah.
And they come in and they're getting married, or they're attending a wedding, and they still have both their sides in terms of like, they're still like, even if they are getting married, we've had brides when they're getting married and they're mixed. They're like, as in the bride's parents are mixed, so like it's like English or Indian. The girls are still like, oh, I want something that is a bit of both.
Both, yeah.
So a bit of a fusion. So they are still carrying that culture through, and they still.
So what we're trying to say is that these kids are not confused. I feel they're a little bit more on point in the sense that they say, I've got the British side of my family and then the Indian side or the Caribbean side of my family, but I want to fuse them both together. I don't want to lose any part of it because my dad or my mum is whatever. I want to incorporate both those things. Like you said, when they get married, I think it's very significant that they want to put that into their marriage and say, this is who we are. We're a bit both.
Yeah, fusion. That's our word. That's the word we always use,
yeah,
fusion.
And that's how I started. Arinder Bhullar actually started off as a fusion brand because I always thought, looking back at my children, that they are fusion because even though both of us are Indian, but my children are brought up here, they wear English clothes, all their lives they're brought up in, you know, this Western world, and then suddenly when they get married, you know, they're to wear these or follow the culture of the Asian side. So why not fuse it both together from their Western and their Eastern side and make it one pot?
Yeah.
Because they've got the best of both worlds. Don't make them feel uncomfortable.
That's talking about like a mixed marriage. But then
Same thing, isn't it?
That's talking
it's
about,
a pot, isn't it? That's been mixed. So we're, it's a fusion, isn't it?
But then what did you say about caste? Because people I've still noticed,
caste,
obviously
I
being
think.
in the shop, we see a lot of people. We come across a lot of people and we talk to a lot of people. And some people seem very modern, very open-minded. They're all dressed very modern as well.
Yeah.
But then as soon as it
Caste
comes
is an
down,
issue.
they literally, you have it all the time where people come to you and they're like, oh, I've got a daughter or I've got a son. Do you know a boy or a girl?
Yeah,
and they're like,
do you know a boy who's Jat or a girl who's Khan or whatever religion, whatever caste, they're still aiming for that.
And we're now in 2025 and people are still talking about caste.
Yeah, and it's not just in the Sikh religion, it's Hindu religion as well, and I'm sure in the Islamic religion as well, that there is a caste system where everybody wants to marry within their own. It's almost like a little sect, isn't it? I mean, in the Sikh religion, we're not supposed to have a caste system.
Yeah, this is what I've never understood.
Because we became Sikhs because we dropped the caste system from the Hindu religion. Guru Nanak Dev Ji made the Sikh religion to make everyone equal. There's no caste. But till today, I feel we still follow that caste system, which is very, very wrong. I really don't agree with it.
So when I was I never knew what caste I was. Obviously, I'm Sikh Punjabi. I never knew what caste I was until I was in school, and it was actually in primary school, but it was like year 4, year 5, and people I had these kids come up to me that was
at that age?
2 or 3 kids came up to me and they were like, oh, what caste are you? I was like, oh, I'm Sikh, and they were like, no, what caste are you? I was like, I'm Punjabi, I'm Sikh. And they were like, no, but what caste are you? I was like, what is caste?
But don't you think that's parents programming their children
from young
to say, you are this caste and that's who you are to marry?
Do you think that's what it is?
I think so, because how would you, like you said, you didn't know.
I had no idea, and then I literally had to go home.
Because your parents didn't program you to say, I am whatever caste you are.
And when I asked my parents, like I asked my mum, and my mum was like, you're Sikh, you're Punjabi, and she was like, but if you want to know, we are this.
Yeah.
And I don't even find the point of saying it.
Yeah.
So she's like, you are this.
Yeah.
But then she's like, so I didn't even tell the kids the next day because I was like, I'm Sikh, I'm Punjabi, that's all I am.
Yeah, and that's what we're supposed to be. Yes, it's very relevant in our culture that kids marry within the caste system, and they don't. A lot.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about mixed marriages as in white or black or brown. I'm talking about caste system. It's very important, and to some parents it's very important because it's almost like a hierarchy, isn't it? Like caste system is a hierarchy from someone who's a servant, someone who cleans toilets, to someone who makes wooden things, someone who makes metallic things, to someone who is a goldsmith, to someone who owns land.
Yeah.
You know, it's a hierarchy.
Again,
it's your job, isn't it?
I didn't know, again.
It's a job.
I didn't know all of the castes until we went to India last year. When we went to India last year, that's when I think I clocked onto all of these castes. Before that, I didn't know what all these castes or anything were.
That's what they mean.
And it's not like it's not like I'm whitewashed or anything like that. Like I speak Punjabi, I'm very sort of like, and even just because you speak Punjabi you can't speak Punjabi, that doesn't mean you're whitewashed. But it's just the thing of, just because it's never been sort of relevant here to know what caste you are.
Yeah, I think with our generation, my generation, your mum's generation, is that we don't really care.
Yeah.
You know,
when you were younger and you were getting married, was caste a big thing?
I think so, yes. My mum was like, whatever caste we are, I'd like you to marry within that caste.
Yeah.
If you find your own partner.
But you had that option. You had that option.
Huh?
Did you actually have that option that you could find a partner?
Well, that if you do, she said. But obviously, I had an arranged marriage. But my sisters married. They had love marriages.
Yeah.
So they did have that option. But the thing is, my mum did say that I'm talking about 40, 45 years ago. But now, I mean, one of my nieces is married to a white guy, didn't even blink an eyelid.
Yeah.
She just said, I'm happy that she's happy. You know, my mum's moved on. I think a lot of people have moved on. There's people that I do like feel that they can or they are acceptable. Because you've got to evolve. It's about being evolving and becoming, like accepting what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
Or you're stuck back in the dark days, and then you're sort of like nothing's relevant to you, and it's sad. So, but I feel quite honoured that my mum has evolved.
Do you feel like, in the UK, so there's we've got a massive Asian population here, and then obviously you've got like family in like Canada and stuff as well, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
And like, so you've got, and also in like America, there's a lot of Asians. Do you think that we're all on the same sort of page with this whole thing of evolving and allowing sort of mixed marriages and stuff? What do you think?
I don't think a lot of, especially the people that have come from India.
Yeah.
Like my mum was like a first generation. A lot of people in Canada and America are first generation, as in my age.
Oh, okay.
So like I'm second generation, but I think people that have moved to Canada or America are my age.
So they're still one generation behind us, aren't they?
One generation behind, and I still feel they're not accepting the caste. And it will all change.
Yeah.
But I think because they still have those beliefs. Because if you go to India is very strong still. I think if someone marries out of caste in India, it's just unacceptable. They'll cut that child off. I feel that because it's all, like I said before, it's a hierarchy.
It's about status, isn't it?
It's status. I mean, if you're a landowner and then you marry someone who is, I don't know, someone who makes steel utensils, or someone who's a tailor.
I didn't even know that was a class, I'm not going to lie.
It is. Or someone who's a tailor, or someone who, I don't know, someone who's a cleaner.
Yeah.
Whatever they are, or, someone who's a goldsmith.
But here it makes no difference to us.
It doesn't here, but it shows in India because... I don't know. I don't know how I say it shows in India. It shows in India because they see the job. You're a landowner, so you're someone who's above everybody else.
Yeah.
I don't get that. I don't understand that, but it is relevant. In India, it is very relevant, and eventually they will move on. Because India has sort of moved on quite a lot, but it will take time.
So imagine someone from here taking their mixed marriage partner to India to meet their family. It would be like a big issue, wouldn't it?
It would be a big issue. I think if they took a Gora, it would be quite acceptable.
Why do you think it's different for if it's like someone like that's a Gora or white?
I think it's the whole colonisation aspect where, they still believe... I think in India...
They still think that's superior.
Gora are still above everybody,
Yeah.
I see it now, even when I go now, I still see it, that if they talk about white people, they always put them on a pedestal almost. So, if someone takes a Gora, a white person, to India, I think it would be acceptable. And I'm sounding awful now, but if they took a black person, I think they'd be horrified.
Yeah.
Isn't that shocking?
I remember when I saw this Punjabi movie, and it had that actor doing that Guggi in it.
Yeah.
That Punjabi actor. And in there, they made a really racist joke. He brought a black woman from America to India.
Okay.
And they made a really racist joke. It was a comedy movie, and they made a really racist joke about her colour. And it was just
Shocked
seen...
you.
Yeah, it really shocked me, and it was just seen to be a comedy. And I was really shocked at the fact that this movie has gone so big.
That's why I'm saying...
And it's just shocking to see that they're laughing about colour still.
Yeah. But we've touched on this subject before in one of our other episodes about colour. Obviously, we're talking about
like,
African or Caribbean people. But even in our own culture, we've seen it. Dark always is not a good thing.
Yeah.
On white, the whiter you are, the nicer you are, the
Yeah.
prettier you are, the handsome you are. So that will never go for a long time. So,
but we've had brides, like we've recently even had a bride where she's been with her partner for so many years, and they've got a beautiful daughter together as well, and they decided to get married.
Oh yes.
And like
amazing. I mean, that after I think 20 years, they, she's got a Caribbean partner. She's of Indian heritage, and they've got a daughter, beautiful daughter.
Yeah.
And they decided, that they want to get married, and they've had this beautiful wedding. Her parents have accepted it over the years, and all the family, they had this beautiful wedding.
They had a really nice fusion of a wedding, didn't they?
Yeah, beautiful wedding, and she wore an Indian lehenga. He looked handsome, but do you remember seeing all the comments? When it was put up on social media, how some of our own Asian people can be so offensive
and disgusting,
and you think, oh my God, get a life. Why are you behaving this way? Yeah. They're happy, their parents are happy, their children are happy, everyone's accepted it.
But again,
who the hell are you?
But again, did you notice that these comments that were being written, they weren't by actual people's profiles. They were all written by almost like blank profiles, because people are still scared to voice their true opinion.
Yeah. Hide behind the keyboard warriors, as you call them.
Yeah, that's the word. Because they're still scared that they're in the UK and they can't write these things, and they know they're not allowed to write these things that they're writing underneath people's pictures and videos and things like this.
And some of the comments, I mean, I read them, they were disgusting, but some people were so accepting, which I loved, and it's a positive thing for people to accept that, mixed marriages are a good thing. There's nothing wrong with it. I at the end of the day,
it's whoever you fall in love with, basically. If you fall in love with someone and you're happy with them,
it's their soul.
Yeah. And I feel like you can't force someone to marry. You can't force someone to marry someone just because they're in the same culture as you, and just because they're the same religion as you. Because at the end of the day, if you're not going to be happy with that person, you won't be happy with them.
And beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
That's
very
what
true.
I believe.
That is also very true.
Yeah, because, if you fall in love with someone, whether they're Asian, white, black, whoever they are, if they're a good person from here, they're the best person.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's what I believe in. And I don't even believe in good looks, good people sometimes I feel can be quite arrogant. So another thing I wanted to touch upon was I see second marriages.
Yeah.
And every second marriage seems to be a mixed marriage. Do you feel that? Because, I feel, especially with women, when they've been married to an Asian guy, and they've been with them for the past 15, 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
Their second marriage always seems to be someone that's not of an Asian culture or religion. Why do you I
wouldn't say it's all the time it's someone that's not Asian.
Mostly.
We've seen it where it has been with a sort of more mature brides. They have got partners which are Indian as well, or Asian. But I have noticed that a lot of the times they are of a different
mixed marriage.
Yeah, they have a different heritage to us.
Yeah.
But I don't know what that is. It's probably, as I said, it is probably the thing of it's who they fall for, and also it might be also the thing of.
I feel. Can I give my opinion?
Go on. Go.
I feel that 20, 30 years ago, a lot of Asian men were of a certain sort of mindset where they almost felt the women I'm not saying they were below them, but they were in control of the woman.
Yeah.
Where they went out to work and the women looked after the children, and I felt women sort of felt like they
suppressed a little bit.
Yeah, suppressed. They were suppressed. That's the word. And then I think that broke down their marriages, because eventually women wake up to this. Why am I in this marriage?
And it's always, I've noticed as well, as you were saying recently, it's like it's more the mature women that are doing this.
Yeah, because
and
I
even
think,
if they have been
why
married
am
to
I
someone
here?
for 20, 30 years, it doesn't make a difference. They always have this thing of, do you know what, enough is enough.
Yeah.
Like, I need to find love, I need to find my partner.
Yeah, absolutely. They want love.
Yeah.
And also freedom in a way.
Yeah.
Or, equality. I think equality is very important, because in a relationship, husband and wife, there's no who's higher or lower. We're of us, touch wood, I'm lucky with my husband. He treats me on that level. We're equal. We do everything together.
Yeah.
From, bringing up our children, the decisions we make, to cooking in the kitchen. We'll do it together.
This is the thing, like, with Masaji, I would say, like, even Arinder Bhullar as a brand, he's never pushed on it being Rajinder Bhullar.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
He's always like, my wife, Arinder Bhullar.
Yeah.
So it just shows that not all men from that generation. And Masaji's from India.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? So you can't just say, oh, because he's British, he's more modern thinking or anything like that.
No.
But he's from the older generation.
Yeah.
He is from India. He's born in India. He came here just literally to get married, right?
Yeah.
So he's come over.
He's very forward thinking.
But he's so forward thinking, so you can't say, oh,
more than some people. I personally know more than people that have been brought up in this country, from little children or born in this country. He's more forward than them.
Yeah.
And it surprises me sometimes.
And even with the whole brand thing, going back to it, he's always like, my wife, Arinder Bhullar. My wife is the designer, Arinder Bhullar, and he's always pushed you forwards to do everything.
Yeah.
Or even when people come in, he's always like, speak to the boss. it might be a joke, but it's, do you see what I mean? But it's always.
Yeah.
So I don't think we can say that every man of the older generation was like that.
No,
but I
not
think
every man, but I think majority.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I said a majority, I'd say 70-30.
But do you think that's also going back to
It's
maybe
how they were brought up.
what they've seen in
what
that?
they've seen,
I
as
feel
in
like
their fathers.
I feel like the thing is that children, they pick up on what they see in their own homes. That's why it's so important. This is what going back to, like what I was saying about mixed marriages. About if you bring your children up to respect both cultures, it's not just about respecting both cultures, it's about respecting each other as well.
Absolutely,
and when your children see that you can respect each other, they will respect or hopefully they will see that, and they'll start respecting their partners and doing things for their partners that they see their parents doing to each other.
I totally agree.
It's almost like a learning curve for them, isn't it, a little bit?
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Arinder Bhullar podcast. I hope you enjoyed what we had to speak about today. And leave a comment. I know you guys aren't going to be shy to leave a comment about what we've spoken about today, or drop us a DM. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you next time.